Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look over here at Sandbox, kind of see what's going on, and then obviously just peek over at Bitcoin first, because I think it's important to understand kind of what's going on here with Bitcoin because it is controlling the market fairly well right now, all things considered based on the fact that it's kind of on a razor's edge just before that steep drop off. And when I say that, I don't mean that it's going to. It's just that we have a strong support level around 53, 54,000 and that we shouldn't see it go much lower, but there's not a tremendous amount of support below that, if that makes any sense. That being said, I think we'll be okay. And the reason why I think that is just based on the simple fact that we have a really strong support level here from a previous all-time high. So right here, right at about 52.7 is a strong support level. And you can see the price didn't go much lower here than 54,000 when it was ramping up back in early October. So again, some really good stuff here, honestly, and we're not in bad shape whatsoever. And just bear in mind, we're under the 50-day simple moving average. So until we're back above that on the 4-hour chart, we might still consider or continue to see some sideways action. That may work as a resistance, but I think it'll probably work as a support level because it's going to likely average itself out, right? That's how a moving average works. So that's essentially what we're going to be looking at. So not terrible stuff. Just bear in mind that Bitcoin, any subtle movement from Bitcoin right now is exaggerating a lot of these other coins that are overextended, if that makes any sense. KuCoin, I see it. Sandbox, even a little bit. Gala, a lot of things are getting hit hard right now based on Bitcoin's indecision, but it is strictly going sideways right now. Like there's literally every time the price tries to go lower, it gets stopped out right at about 53.7. So I think that we're establishing a nice strong support level here. This is much better to see this than it is this kind of stuff based on the simple fact that it's actually feels like it's leveling out. And when you see a lot of just straight sideways action at a strong previous support level, there's a good chance we might see a reversal and the price continue to increase. Again, we're not considered bullish until we pass 60,000, but I do feel like we could be considering, it might be almost time to start considering opening a long position. And we want to wait until Monday or Tuesday to identify that, but we're almost there, if that makes sense. All right, so again, that's kind of where we're at for Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Sandbox. And just before we do, if you're new to the channel, I just want to let you know I'm not a financial advisor. I just love teaching people how to trade. And it's like something I just truly am passionate about. I've been doing this for about 15 years now, and my goal is to help you become a better trader. I have a trading community, link in the description below. We have new slots available December 1st, open enrollment. But for right now, we're kind of all maxed out, so to speak, just making sure the community has better, more individualized one-on-one attention, right? So that being said, take a look here at Sandbox. Let's look at the one-day chart first. We can see here we got these 3 red crows, I think they're called. I always mistake the name, but there's 3 white soldiers where you got 3 strong bullish days in a row. We got these really strong candlesticks, and that is essentially showing a sign of reversal there when you have 3 strong red days. So you can see these 3 strong green days here, right? Followed by a red day. No surprise. So that being said, today being green, it makes sense because it has to come back because it just has that continuation, that momentum. Sandbox has a tendency of doing very, very well. And obviously it's not going to just lay down and die, right? It's doing very good. And I think that we should expect to see a continuation, but we'll take a look at that. Looking at the price here, RSI rather, we can see we have almost a bounce off of 70. So that kind of just reaffirms the fact that we should see a very strong resistance, correction, a very strong support level continuation. In other words, $6.11 is going to continue to work as a strong support level. I think even moving forward, regardless of what happens with Bitcoin. That's my speculation. And I do personally feel Sandbox is going to be definitely double digits here in the very, very near future. Now, right now, based on what we see here so far, we got this nice reversal. We're up over 70 in the RSI. Those are 2 very positive things, right? Furthermore, we've got a bounce off the 50-day simple moving average that was roughly about 12 to 16 hours ago. That is excellent news as well. That reaffirms that support from the 50, and that's going to slowly continue to push the price action up if the price doesn't already go up first, right? Obviously, that's a different story. It's already increased, and we got this little red candle here, that correction. I'm willing to guess we have a 9 on TD sequential in the 1 hour, and we're consolidating just above the cloud. That's what it basically looks like, and if so, then that might be a good consideration for a long position to the upside to maybe take an extra 10, 20%, right? So yeah, I mean, there's literally almost 20% worth of growth there until we get to the all-time high of 8.5. All right, so I like what I see here. Still bullish. We're back up over 50 on the RSI. That's fantastic. I have a potential MACD convergence here. It's not strong. It's not ramping up per se because it's consolidating on the 4-hour chart. But the key takeaway here is that this is strong. This appears to be likely a conversion on the MACD. right? So we should be able to see that convergence on the MACD here in the next 12 to 24 hours. Okay, yep, I like this. Take a look at this here. See if the Ichimoku cloud. Ooh, okay, close. We're really close. So what we got to do first of all is identify big picture, right? So we've already identified the fact that this is essentially a bullish sentiment, right? We've got the reversal on the 1-day chart. We're over 70. We're over 50 on the RSI on the 4-hour. We have a potential MACD convergence, and we have a potential break above the cloud. Now, I say potential because I've seen this happen before when the price comes up like this. In fact, we saw this with KuCoin yesterday. If you're part of my community, you saw that we had a breakthrough in the cloud. All good. All signals go. We were about 2 cents away from our profit target, and it just dropped. And the main reason why is because Bitcoin had a little hissy fit, right? It dropped about 2, almost 3% in about a 30-minute period, and it hits the reset button on every single altcoin. This coin is, I'd imagine, is doing the same thing. In fact, why don't we take a quick look at Bitcoin and see, what do you know? Nice ugly red candle. So this correction is because of Bitcoin. And here's the thing you got to understand. Bitcoin controls everything, no matter how much you like it or don't like it, right? Most coins can move independent of Bitcoin at certain times. But once there's an indecision in the market, there's a fear index that is so great, coins like these are starting to suffer a little bit. In other words, it's not in dire straits, don't get me wrong. I mean, this is a healthy continuation. In fact, it's probably a 9 on TD sequential. Look at that, yeah, 9, and then we got this little reset. So this consolidation is normal. It's not like it's abnormal to see the price want to come back down. What is abnormal, though, is that strong red candle. It should most likely be going sideways or up, but Bitcoin's had, a good 3 or 4 hours straight of basically bearish sentiment, and that doesn't really help much, right? So, again, big picture, not in bad shape whatsoever from Sandbox, but that's why we understand we identify the correlation between Bitcoin and every single altcoin every time we look at it, right? Because different times, Sandbox, like, I don't care about Bitcoin. I don't give a crap about him right now. I'm going to do my own thing. But right now, I do feel like this correction is based on Bitcoin's little, fear index and, that the market dominance and such. There's a really interesting ways in which that happens, right? Regardless, I hope you understand what I'm trying to get at. I'm speaking in circles now, but that's what's happening right now, and we're seeing this correction. So technically speaking, we're not over the cloud yet. And what I like to recommend doing, just based on yesterday's experience with KuCoin and its correlation with Bitcoin, is a simple fact that we want to wait, I would say, even longer for the price to stay above the cloud before we consider that a break above, right? Because 1 or 2 hours doesn't seem to be enough. I would say that 3 to 4 hours would probably be best, ultimately, to have that break above the cloud. Furthermore, we also have a 9 on TD sequential, right? So we can expect maybe in the range of maybe 8 to 12 hours left of bearish sentiment. So what I would do is I would recommend considering, maybe setting an alert and seeing right when the price crosses this plane here and kind of reevaluate and see if it's worth considering to taking entry, maybe dollar cost average at that point. But I'm going to set an alert for it looks like it's 667. Just to ensure I'm notified when if the price crosses that plane and we get a bounce, that could be a good consideration to take entry then as well, if that makes sense. But we're not quite broken above the cloud, so therefore it's not considered a buy signal yet, even though we have truly everything else factoring in as a bullish sentiment, okay? We just got this last minute greed, this last minute fear index that is kind of hitting the reset button. So I hope you understand what I mean by that, because I like to drive that home because that's a really important thing to know. People just seem to arbitrarily jump into altcoins without understanding how Bitcoin works, and that is just not the right way to go. That's why I like to help educate you on these things, and I reiterate this to my patrons as well. So if you become part of that community, of course, you'll be up to speed on that. But for right now, I would say that Sandbox is tentatively ready to go. We got to wait and see, I would say, another 12 hours before we wanted to consider taking entry. Now, granted, it could leg up here in the next 2 hours and just take off. That is a possibility. Feel free to dollar cost average if that's your belief. I personally feel we're going to see a bit of a continuation, if nothing else, to the side or down for the next, again, maybe 8 to 12 hours. And in that case, that would prevent me from wanting to take entry confidently. But there's no doubt that Sandbox did very well to respond to the sell-off here recently. This is a sell-off from Bitcoin. This is one of the bigger ones. And it bounced, essentially, right? So when everything else was suffering yesterday, Sandbox ramped back up, okay? Most things are still going sideways or down right now. So there's that to understand. So Sandbox is still very strong. I don't think you should be concerned at all in the big picture, but I do think that if you're considering dollar cost averaging, or Sandbox is your coin you want to continue to invest in because you believe you'll see double digits and then some, which I think is very realistic, then go ahead and add to your position. You don't necessarily have to wait, right? What's a couple of cents if you've got a really massive, large amount of coins, right? That being said, just be careful, be cautious. I hope you found benefit here. I'll stop rambling. We'll go ahead and cover this on again tomorrow, and just keep on keeping on, right? We got to keep paying attention to what's going on. And again, if I get that alert and I see some kind of buy signals, I'll make sure to maybe throw up a little upload here, quick little notification. If you're part of my community, I'll make sure to consider taking entry if it feels right. Okay, but we never force a trade. That's the important thing, right? You always make sure you check all the boxes before you take entry. All right, thanks again for your time. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.